Orphan alien sisters came to me for safety. I gave them more than shelter no one in the galaxy remembered when the sacrificial pillar was first built. It existed before recorded treaties, before shared calendars, before most species learned how to cross the space between stars. The pillar did not orbit a world or float freely in space. It was anchored inside a hollow sphere of artificial gravity, a place made only for watching. The chamber of witnesses surrounded it, thousands of viewing platforms, each tuned to the senses of a different species. Some platforms used light, others used sound waves, chemical signals, or direct neural impressions. All were focused on one place, the pillar. It was tall, smooth, and colorless, shaped from materials no one alive could identify. Symbols moved across its surface like slow water, reacting to thought, emotion, and intent. The pillar did not hurt. It did not restrain. It did not need to. Its power came from belief. For thousands of cycles, the Galactic Compact had used it to maintain peace. When a species expanded too fast, resisted authority, or showed signs of instability, the Compact did not wage war. War was messy. War created martyrs. Instead, the Compact demanded compliance. One representative, one moment, one surrender. The chosen individual would stand at the pillar and publicly accept the Compact's judgment. The ritual would broadcast across known space. It was not meant to punish the individual, but to reshape the species. And it always worked, until humanity arrived. The human stood alone on the platform. Her name was Mara Elian, though only a few humans watching from home knew that. To the Compact, she was simply designation, human representative 1. She was not tall by galactic standards. She had no armor, no ceremonial markings, no visible enhancements. She wore plain gray clothing designed for comfort rather than display. Her hair was tied back in a simple way, not styled for appearance. She did not look impressive. That unsettled the observers. Most species sent leaders, heroes, or religious figures. Some sent elders heavy with symbols of history. Others sent warriors, hoping strength alone would carry meaning. Humans sent an engineer. Mara stood with her hands at her sides, feet evenly placed on the platform. The artificial gravity was gentle, calibrated to her home world. The air tasted neutral. The light was soft. The pillar rose before her, silent. Above and around her, the galaxy watched. From the observation tier of the Jatl Collective, Elder Vesic narrowed his sensory fronds. "This is the representative?" he asked, projecting the question through shared channels. "Yes," replied a Compact liaison, its voice carefully neutral. "Species, human. Profession, systems engineer, no military rank, no political authority." Vesic processed this slowly. "A mistake? No. Then a tactic? Possibly." Across the chamber, similar questions rippled. The Krell Dominion observers clicked uneasily. They had expected defiance, shouting, maybe tears. Humans were classified as emotionally intense. They had fought internal wars. They argued constantly among themselves. Their media was filled with drama. This one stood quietly, too quietly. The ritual began. A soft resonance filled the chamber, felt differently by every species. To Mara, it felt like pressure behind the eyes, not painful, just present. A voice emerged, not sound, but meaning. "Human representative," the pillar intoned. "Your species has been assessed. You are deemed unstable within Compact parameters. You will acknowledge judgment and affirm compliance." A pause followed. This pause was important. Every previous representative filled it with something, fear, anger, pleading. Mara did not. She looked up at the pillar, eyes tracing the slow movement of symbols along its surface. "How long has this structure been active?" she asked. The chamber froze. That was not part of the ritual. The liaison hesitated. "The question is irrelevant." "It's relevant to me," Mara replied calmly. "The energy cycling pattern suggests very old design logic, pre-compact, maybe even pre-standardization." A ripple of confusion spread among the observers. The pillar did not respond. It had no answer prepared for curiosity. On Earth, millions watched the broadcast. Humanity had not panicked when the Compact issued its judgment. There were protests, debates, long discussions late into the night. Some wanted resistance. Some wanted negotiation. Some wanted compliance to avoid risk. In the end, humanity did something unexpected. They voted, not for a leader, not for a champion. They voted for a question: who would stand there not to surrender, but to understand? Mara had not volunteered at first. She worked on orbital infrastructure, solving quiet problems that kept stations alive. She liked systems, Systems made sense, but when the call came, she accepted, not because she thought she was special, but because she knew humans. Back in the chamber, the liaison attempted to regain control. "Human representative," it said, tone firmer now. "You will state your acceptance of compact authority." Mara tilted her head slightly. "I'm still unclear," she said, "on what authority you believe you're exercising." The words were simple, the effect was not. The pillar's symbols shifted faster, reacting to increased cognitive activity across the chamber. The ritual depended on emotional alignment. Confusion disrupted that alignment. "This ritual has been performed successfully across 1,142 species," the liaison said. "Its authority is proven." Mara nodded slowly. "So was the idea that the universe was flat," she said, "until it was." Some observers registered amusement, others registered concern. The Jadal elder felt something uncomfortable. Interest. The pillar activated the next phase. The light around Mara dimmed slightly. The platform isolated her senses. This phase usually caused distress. The representative would feel alone, cut off from their species, from reassurance. Mara felt the change. She breathed in. She breathed out. She closed her eyes. Instead of panic, her mind moved inward. She remembered her first station failure, how everything seemed broken at once, alarms screaming, systems contradicting each other. Panic had made it worse. Calm had made it solvable. She remembered her mother's voice, steady during storms. She remembered jokes shared over cold coffee during long shifts. The isolation field searched for fractures. It found none. "Physiological stress levels are low," reported a compact analyst quietly. "That's impossible," replied another. "Isolation always produces distress." Perhaps the human is dissociating. Or perhaps, Vesic thought, this species is accustomed to being alone together. The idea unsettled him. The pillar adjusted. Time perception shifted. For Mara, seconds stretched. Thoughts became heavier, slower. This phase usually forced representatives to confront fear of endless waiting, of being forgotten. Mara opened her eyes. "So this is temporal dilation," she said. "Crude but effective. You're using anticipation as pressure." The liaison's composure slipped. "You are not meant to analyze the process." "Why not?" she asked. "You're analyzing us," the question echoed. Across human networks, quiet smiles appeared. This was going exactly as planned. The ritual demanded a declaration. "State your compliance," the pillar urged, its meaning layered with expectation. Mara straightened. "I acknowledge that you exist," she said. "I acknowledge that you are powerful, but I do not acknowledge that you are correct." A murmur spread through the chamber. No one had ever said that. The pillar hesitated, not because it doubted, but because it did not understand how to proceed. Its logic was old, binary, submit or break. Humans were offering a third option. From the Krell platform, a commander leaned forward. "If they refuse," he asked, "what happens?" The liaison did not answer immediately. "That has never occurred," it said at last. Mara waited. She was not afraid. She was curious. And across the galaxy, for the first time in recorded history, the sacrificial pillar faced something it had never been designed to handle. A species that did not believe kneeling was the natural state of existence. And this was only the beginning. The sacrificial pillar had never needed to wait. Across thousands of cycles, the ritual followed a pattern as old as the compact itself. A representative arrived. Pressure increased. Emotion rose. Compliance followed. The chamber recorded the moment, and the galaxy moved on. But now the pillar waited. Mara Elian stood on the platform, still and quiet, while the symbols on the pillar's surface shifted again and again, searching for the correct response. The system was not confused by her words alone. It was confused by her absence of reaction. She was supposed to feel small. She did not. From the chamber of witnesses, observers leaned forward on platforms shaped for bodies that had never evolved to sit still. Many had never seen a ritual stall before. "This delay is inefficient," clicked Commander Rackle of the Krell Dominion. "Why has the pressure not escalated?" "It has," replied the compact liaison. "The human simply does not respond as expected." "That is not possible," Rackle said. "All minds respond." The liaison did not answer because the data disagreed. Mara felt the next shift before she saw it. The air thickened slightly. The light changed color, becoming warmer, more familiar. The platform subtly adjusted gravity, mimicking Earth's natural pull more closely than before. This was not accidental. The pillar was attempting comfort. This phase was designed to weaken resistance by offering safety. Representatives often relaxed, emotions surfacing once fear faded. That was when they spoke words of surrender, convinced that obedience would preserve this feeling. Mara noticed the change immediately. "They're trying familiarity now," she murmured to herself. She rolled her shoulders once, loosening tension, but she did not relax. On Earth, analysts watched the same shift in real time. "They switched to Phase 4 early," said Dr. Anand Rios, eyes fixed on cascading data. "They're adapting." "They're guessing," replied another expert. "They don't understand her baseline." Humanity had learned something important in its long history. Pressure only worked if you believed it had meaning. Mara believed in systems, not rituals. The pillar spoke again. "Human representative," it intoned, voice layered with reassurance. "You are safe. Your cooperation will ensure continued stability for your species." Mara looked up. "Define stability," she said. The chamber stirred. The pillar paused. "Stability," it replied, "is the absence of disruptive variance." Mara nodded slowly. "Then humanity was never stable to begin with." That statement carried no pride, no challenge, just truth. Among the observers, Elder Vesic of the Jadal Collective felt something tighten within his neural lattice. "Disruptive variance," he repeated softly. "That is how they see difference." His species valued harmony above all else. But harmony to the Jadal came from shared understanding, not forced silence. He studied the human more closely now. She was not resisting. She was engaging. The pillar initiated another measure. Images appeared around Mara, not projected light, but direct neural impressions. Scenes of Earth filled her mind. Cities, oceans, human faces smiling, arguing, living. Then the images shifted. Statistics overlaid the scenes. Projections of potential futures, trade restrictions, limited expansion corridors, slowed technological exchange, not threats. Consequences, the pillar believed this would be enough. Myra absorbed it all. She did not flinch. "They're showing her loss," whispered a compact analyst. "That always works." "Why?" asked another. "Because no species wants to be alone." Mara watched the future Earth's flicker and fade, then she spoke. "You assume we fear limitation," she said, "but most of our history was built under it." She gestured gently toward the images. "We grew on one world, one fragile one. Everything we became happened while trapped by gravity, distance, and ignorance." She met the pillar's shifting symbols. "Limitation isn't new to us." The chamber fell into uneasy quiet. For the first time, some observers began to understand the mistake. Humanity had not risen despite pressure. It had risen because of it. The pillar recalibrated again. This time it turned inward. It began monitoring not just Mara's reactions, but the broader human network. This was unusual. The ritual normally focused only on the representative. But something about this species suggested deeper coordination. Data streams poured in. Human communications showed no panic, no chaos, no desperate mobilization. Instead, there was calm discussion, long-term planning, and quiet adjustments across infrastructure, trade, and research. "They are not reacting emotionally," said the analyst. "They are reorganizing." "Preparing for resistance?" asked Rackle. "No," the analyst said slowly. "Preparing for independence." That was worse. Mara felt a faint pressure behind her thoughts again. This time it was different, sharper. The pillar was attempting to isolate not her senses, but her identity. It tried to separate her from shared memory, shared language, shared meaning. Most minds fractured here. Mara did not. She thought of Earth not as a single place, but as millions of stories overlapping. No single thread defined it. No single person represented it. That knowledge steadied her. She smiled faintly. "You won't find a center," she said quietly. "We don't have one." The liaison's voice hardened. "Human representative, your refusal to comply risks classification escalation." Mara raised an eyebrow. "To what?" "Non-cooperative species status." "And what does that mean?" The liaison paused. "It means exclusion." Mara nodded once. "Then you misunderstand us," she said. "Exclusion only works if you're afraid of being alone." She looked out at the vast chamber. "We learned how to sit with silence long before we learned how to cross space." Elder Vesic felt a ripple of unease spread through his people's shared awareness. This was not defiance. This was something far more dangerous, confidence without aggression. The pillar attempted one final approach. It projected authority. The weight of history pressed down on the platform. Every successful ritual, every submission, every bowed head echoed through the structure. Mara felt it like a storm of expectations. She inhaled. She exhaled. Then she did something no representative had ever done. She asked permission. "May I ask you something?" she said to the pillar. The chamber froze. The pillar did not understand the concept, but it answered. "Query acknowledged." Mara's voice remained calm. "Why do you need us to kneel?" The question echoed far beyond the chamber. The pillar searched its ancient logic. "To maintain order. And if we do, order degrades." Mara tilted her head. "Or evolves." The symbols on the pillar flickered erratically. Across human systems, subtle changes continued. Trade agreements paused. Shared technologies were quietly withdrawn from compact networks. Navigation assistance algorithms adjusted, prioritizing human routes. No announcements were made, no threats issued. Humanity did not shout. It simply stepped back. Commander Rackle felt something he had not felt in centuries, uncertainty. "They're not fighting," he said. "They're leaving." "Yes," Vesic replied softly, "and they are doing it calmly." "That is worse," Rackle said. Mara stood as the pressure finally eased, not because she had submitted, but because the pillar had no remaining tools to apply without breaking its own rules. She folded her hands loosely in front of her. "I'm still here," she said, "still listening." "But I won't pretend you own us just to make this easier." The pillar said nothing. For the first time in its existence, silence did not signal victory. It signaled failure. Far from the chamber, across human worlds and stations, a shared understanding settled in. Whatever happened next, they would not beg, they would not rush. They would endure, because endurance was not something humanity performed, it was something it was. And the galaxy was only beginning to realize what that meant. The sacrificial pillar had always been the center of control. It did not command fleets, it did not fire weapons, it shaped belief. Through belief, the galactic compact shaped behavior. Through behavior, it shaped the galaxy. But now, belief was slipping. Mara Elian still stood on the platform. She had not moved for a long time. The pressure fields had eased, not because she had given in, but because the pillar had reached the edge of its design. It was not built to negotiate. It was built to conclude, and it could not conclude this ritual. Inside the chamber of witnesses, the atmosphere had changed. Where once there had been confidence, now there was constant movement. Observers whispered through shared channels. Analysts adjusted models again and again, only to watch predictions fail moments later. "This instability is spreading," said a compact systems overseer. "Not from the human, but from us." The liaison did not reply. It was busy reviewing reports from across compact space. Trade lanes were slowing. Navigation errors were increasing. Automated coordination systems, many of them optimized long ago by human consultants, were producing unexpected delays. Nothing dramatic. Nothing broken, just enough friction to be noticed. On the observation platform of the Jatel Collective, Elder Vesic studied the data with growing concern. "These disruptions," he said quietly, "are they intentional?" "No hostile action detected," replied a junior observer. "Human systems remain calm, no threats, no warnings." Vesic's sensory fronds twitched. "Then this is not punishment," he said. "This is choice." The idea unsettled many species. Most civilizations reacted to pressure with fear or anger. Humans reacted with distance. Mara felt the stillness deepen. The pillar no longer pressed against her thoughts. Instead, it watched her as if waiting for her to change. She did not. She shifted her weight slightly, more out of comfort than defiance. "How long are you prepared to wait?" she asked the empty air. The pillar answered after a delay. "The ritual will conclude when compliance is achieved." Mara nodded. "Then you may be waiting a very long time." Far away on Earth, human leaders did not celebrate. There were no cheers, no speeches. There were meetings, quiet ones. "We proceed as discussed," said a representative from the orbital unions. "No escalation, no statements." "And if the compact responds?" asked another. "We adapt," came the answer. "Like always." Humanity did not see itself as standing against the galaxy. It saw itself as stepping aside. The Compact Council convened in emergency session. This alone was rare. Rarer still was the reason. "The ritual is stalled," announced the liaison. "The human representative remains non-compliant. The pillar cannot progress." "This is unacceptable," snapped a delegate from the Krell Dominion. "End the ritual, declare them hostile." "That would violate compact law," replied another voice. "The ritual must conclude." "Then force it to conclude." Silence followed. Force was not part of the compact's identity. The pillar was supposed to prevent the need for it. Commander Rackle of the Krell felt irritation coil within him. "They are exploiting our restraint," he said. "They understand our rules." "Yes," Vesic replied calmly. "And perhaps that is the problem. We assumed our rules were universal." Rackle turned toward him. "You suggest we change them?" "I suggest," Vesic said, "that we consider the possibility that they never agreed to them in the first place." Back in the chamber, the pillar attempted a new approach. It projected probability. Mara saw branching futures unfold around her. Some showed humanity isolated, struggling alone. Others showed gradual decline, technology slowing, influence fading. These were not threats. They were forecasts. Mara studied them carefully. "You're still assuming we measure success the way you do," she said. The pillar paused. "How else would you measure it?" it asked. Mara thought for a moment. "By whether we can still choose," she replied. "Even when the choice is hard." The projections flickered. Some futures vanished. Others appeared, ones the pillar had never calculated. Across compact space, consequences continued to spread. Human-run research nodes quietly withdrew from joint projects. Shared language frameworks began diverging as human linguists updated definitions without compact alignment. Cultural exchange programs paused, not canceled, just delayed. "Why are they doing this?" asked a compact cultural analyst. "They are not angry," another replied. "They are not afraid." "Then what are they?" The answer took time to form. "They are comfortable without us." Elder Vesic felt a slow, heavy realization settle across his collective. For centuries, the compact had believed inclusion was the greatest reward it could offer. But humans had grown up alone in the dark. Inclusion was nice. It was not necessary. The pillar tried once more to reach Mara. "Human representative," it said, voice less certain now. "Your continued resistance introduces systemic instability." Mara looked up. "Then maybe your system needs to change," she said gently. "That is not possible." Mara smiled faintly. "Everything thinks that right before it does." The liaison received another report. Several non-human member species were requesting review of the ritual itself. Some had watched Mara too closely. They had begun asking questions of their own. "This is spreading," the liaison said quietly. "Yes," Vesic agreed. "Ideas tend to do that." The Compact Council debated through long cycles. Some argued for decisive action. Others warned that forcing compliance now would shatter the Compact's moral authority. "All this," one delegate said bitterly, "because one human refused to kneel." Vesic corrected him. "No," he said, "because one human showed us that kneeling was never mandatory." Mara felt the chamber's attention shift, not away from her, toward her. She was no longer a subject of judgment. She was a reference point. "That was never your intention, was it?" she asked the pillar. "What?" "To unite the galaxy through fear of exclusion." The pillar did not respond. It was processing too many contradictions. On Earth, a child watched the broadcast and asked a simple question. "Why doesn't she just say the words and come home?" The parent thought carefully before answering. "Because some words make cages," they said, "and once you say them, you forget the door was ever open." The Compact finally issued a temporary suspension of the ritual. The announcement echoed through the chamber. The sacrificial pillar dimmed slightly, not shut down, but paused. This had never happened before. Mara exhaled slowly. She did not smile, she did not celebrate, she simply waited. Elder Vesic looked across the chamber at the silent human. "They did not conquer us," he said softly to his people. "They did not threaten us. They simply refused to believe we owned their future." For the first time in his long life, he felt something close to respect, and something close to fear. The galaxy had always believed that power came from control. Humanity was teaching it something new. Power could also come from the ability to walk away. And the sacrificial pillar, ancient, silent, and unsure, stood at the center of a system that was no longer certain it deserved obedience. The suspension of the ritual did not bring relief. It brought fear. Across the chamber of witnesses, observers waited for something, anything, to happen. The sacrificial pillar stood dim and quiet, its surface symbols slowed to a near stop. It had never been silent like this before. Silence had always meant submission. Now it meant uncertainty. Mara Alian remained on the platform. She had not been ordered to leave. She had not been released. She existed in a space between decisions, and the galaxy felt that space stretched wider with every passing moment. The Compact Council reconvened. This time, the tone was different. We cannot allow this precedent, said a delegate from the Krell Dominion. If one species refuses ritual authority, others will follow. That may already be happening, replied a voice from the data wing. Screens filled the council chamber. Reports from member worlds appeared in rapid sequence. The Hellier clans requested a pause on compliance reviews. The Nethari Union asked for clarification on voluntary participation. None of them had rebelled. They had asked questions. That frightened the compact more than open defiance ever had. Elder Vesic of the Jadal Collective listened quietly. For a long time he said nothing. Then he spoke. We built peace on belief, he said. And belief is changing, some delegates bristled. Peace was built on order, snapped Rackle. On rules. Rules only work, Vesic replied, when those bound by them believe they are just. Silence followed. No one argued because no one could. In the chamber, the liaison approached the edge of Mara's platform. It did not step onto it. That, too, was new. Human representative, it said carefully. The council is considering alternatives. Mara looked at it. Alternatives to what? To ritual compliance. Mara nodded. That's good, she said. Rituals should be optional. The liaison hesitated. You speak as though you expect to leave. I do, Mara replied calmly. Eventually. And if the council decides otherwise, Mara's answer was simple, then I'll keep standing. Across human space, the quiet withdrawal continued. Human crews rotated out of compact-managed stations without replacement. Shared logistics systems adjusted priorities inward. Education networks removed compact standard historical framing. None of this was announced. There were no declarations of independence. Humanity did not say we are leaving, it simply stopped leaning. And the galaxy felt the weight shift. A young analyst on the Compact Council broke protocol. If they're not attacking us, she asked, why does this feel like losing? The question hung in the air because everyone felt it. The Compact had always defined itself as necessary. Now a species was proving otherwise. Mara felt time pass differently now, not stretched by manipulation but slowed by waiting. She thought of Earth. Not as a planet but as a habit. Humans adapted, they adjusted, they kept going. Whatever the council decided, humanity would continue. That knowledge gave her calm. The sacrificial pillar activated briefly. A low resonance filled the chamber, not pressure, not command, inquiry. Human representative, it asked. Why did your species agree to this ritual at all? Mara looked up, surprised. That's a good question, she said. She thought for a moment. Because we wanted to understand you, she answered, and because we believed cooperation mattered. Do you still believe that? Yes, Mara said, but cooperation isn't obedience. The pillar processed this slowly. It had no category for cooperation without hierarchy. The council debated again. Hours passed, then cycles. Some delegates argued that the pillar should be retired. Others insisted it was too central to abandon. What replaces it? Demanded Rackle. Chaos, Vesic responded quietly. Conversation. The word felt strange in the chamber. Conversation had never been the Compact's strength. News spread, not officially, through whispers. Through observation, other species began to copy humanity's behavior, not all at once. Small things, delayed responses, requests for clarification, refusals to send representatives for symbolic displays. The Compact's authority was not shattered, it was thinning. Like ice under slow warmth, the liaison returned to Mara. The council will issue a statement, it said. About me? About the ritual. Mara raised an eyebrow. Good, she said. It's overdue. The liaison paused. You do not seem afraid. Mara smiled slightly. I was afraid, she said, before I came here. And now, she said, I know we'll be okay. The statement was broadcast across known space. It was careful, measured. The Compact announced a temporary reevaluation of ritual authority. Participation would be voluntary. Compliance would be reframed. No apology was given, but no threat was made either. For the first time, the Compact admitted uncertainty. Reactions were immediate. Some species expressed relief, others confusion, a few anger, but many felt something unexpected, possibility. Commander Rackle watched the broadcast in silence. They are weakening us, he said. No, Vesic replied. They are showing us who we really are without fear holding us together. That may destroy us. Or, Vesic said softly, save us from ourselves. The sacrificial pillar dimmed further. Its symbols slowed almost to stillness. It had served its purpose for ages. Now its purpose was unclear. Mara felt the platform disengage its containment fields. The gravity normalized. The air shifted. Release. The liaison stepped forward. "You are free to return," it said. Myra looked around the chamber one last time. "I hope you choose wisely," she said. "All of you?" Then she stepped off the platform. As she walked away, something subtle changed. She was no longer alone, not physically, but in meaning. Her act had become a reference, a proof. That authority could be questioned, that refusal could be calm, that strength did not require force. On Earth, people watched her return. There were tears, there was pride, but more than anything, there was quiet understanding. They had not won anything. They had kept something, the right to stand. Far away, the sacrificial pillar remained, silent, waiting, no longer a symbol of unquestioned power, but a reminder that even the oldest systems must face the moment when someone finally asks, "Why?" and refuses to kneel until an answer is earned.